So it's going to be about 3 days until Darkwood's party, which everybody was looking forward to attending.
It was very entertaining.
For various reasons.
So some loose ends that everybody wanted to tie up during that time. Riot, you still had open business with the PI gentleman that you met.
Yeah, I want to visit him at some point.
Kelian discovered that Fred owned a stone tower in Sigil.
Notes. Was definitely a thing.
Liberation, you have a signer shindig to attend.
That is true.
I think everyone else is going to the party at Darkwoods.
And Serenity learned of a tenuous link between the Rakshasa at Catnip Coffee and Darkwood while she was being used as a clown.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't all bad.
So
Just mostly bad.
Going down the list here, we'll start with Riot.
Okay.
Let's get a... Well, I usually like to say this kind of thing before we start streaming, but I'm already streaming, so now everybody just gets to hear it. Everybody gets to peek behind the veil. My intention for the session is to get through some of this, like these dangling threads, and then get to the party. If we end up growing these threads out and spending the whole session on them, that's fine too. I can just do the party next week. Okay. So it's really a matter of whether you guys want to do 1 more week of Sigil or 2 more weeks of Sigil is your... That'll be up to you. And Darkwood's party isn't in Sigil anyway, so...
Yeah.
So starting with Riot, morning action for Galia the 5th.
Let's head over to the PIs. That's the most pressing business that I have now that I know I'm going to this party.
Right, because he gave you a cross streets to meet him at.
Yeah.
Rather than an address.
Mm-hmm. I didn't get his name right.
Nope.
He's just a PI, yeah. Did I get a card? Did he send me a card or a message or something?
You guys were corresponding with messages.
Yeah, but I think that like when I got home, there was like some message waiting for me there, if I recall correctly. That's where I got the cross street from.
It's possible.
Am I misremembering?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's possible. Anything's possible. What's Serenity's morning action?
When are the parties in relation to now?
It is the morning of the 5th, and Darkwood's party is the evening of the 7th.
Serenity will probably do the whole head off to Shirok for a day or so then, at this point.
Okay. What about Kelian?
Destil, you're not in tabletop.
Kelian.
Oh,
Kelian.
the table wasn't open last time I tried to go in. It probably doesn't matter yet. There we go.
Kelian wants to talk to McDohl Terrence at some point, but the first thing he's going to do that morning is try to find Abdurrahim Harak, the governor, with the information about Fred.
Okay. Bear with me one moment.
You got a Big Mac.
Nodal, are you talking crap about my neck?
Your what?
My neck?
I heard Big
I
Mac.
called you Big Mac.
Big Mac? I heard big neck, like a giraffe.
I heard
Well,
Big Mac.
If you're hearing that, maybe
Like a
that's something you
Gundam.
need to work out.
Listen, just because I have a black tongue and spots doesn't mean you have to make fun of my disability.
I only learned the giraffes have a black tongue because of Nickelodeon.
Me too. I after watching a riotous episode of Double Dare.
After finishing McDohl's dungeon, I now know where to send a message to Stickley.
What's Liberation's morning action?
Kelian, you want a +1 with your Fred investigation?
Sure.
Okay, then I'll go with Kelian.
And Mahogany.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Let's do that.
I have a troop.
You have a posse.
Yeah.
I want to be very clear about this.
Okay, fine. It'll be a posse.
So Harak was the governor clerk that you hired to dig up this information. Is that correct?
He was the governor that was trying to fleece Fred, but it came to nothing. He spent so much money. Fred spent so much, burned through all of his money that Harak couldn't make a dime off him.
Okay. And how are you going about this investigation?
Well, he's a governor, so where the hell do the governors hang out?
The courts?
Yeah,
That's
he'd
their
probably go to
faction
the courts.
headquarters in Sigil.
He'd probably go to the courts to try and figure out where he is so we can go talk to him. No, yeah, we'll do that first.
Okay.
Yeah, alright.
Riot. Meeting with this polite, upstanding gentleman at the cross streets that he gave you. He owes you 150 gold for services rendered.
Yeah. I'll tell him he can keep his part of the commission if he does me a favor. He can keep my part of the commission, I guess.
What sort of favor?
I want to know what. So you were there. You were there to collect evidence on old Glordenstein. I think what we're naming him.
Yeah.
And I know you were there invisibly. What I don't know is how you use that to present it as evidence to the lady later. You know what I mean? How do you turn what you saw into something you can prove?
He says that information's worth a lot more than 150 gold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll tell him I've got a thing coming up in a few days where it'd be real helpful for me to be able to kind of recreate what I see.
And he tells you you would perhaps find his rates to be very reasonable.
What are your rates?
Depends on where you're asking him to go and what you're asking him to do.
I think you might be more than I can afford for what I've got planned.
And he looks at you sideways for a second, because you realize he saw what you took out of the guy's mansion. Like he knows that you stole, or were rather gifted with air quotes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a very expensive bauble. And I tell him, first of all, that money's gone.
It's been literally 6 hours. That money's...
Second of all, unless you actually want to get involved in factal level blackmail, I don't think that I really don't think there's any rate that would be high enough for this.
He seems intrigued by the proposition,
Hmm.
but you're absolutely right. The rate, you wouldn't be able to afford the rate.
Yeah.
He tells you he's not above that sort of work, but the risk involved is incredible. So the price would also be incredible.
So that's why I don't want to involve you in this sort of thing. It's not. Yeah, the risk is just too high. But I do need some way of getting it done, and I wonder if you'd be able to show me how it works, what your method is. What would your rate for something like that be?
He thinks about it for a second. He says he might be able to set you up with something for 1,500.
1,500.
Does anybody have like a Riot debt sheet with how much money she owes various members of the party?
Mahogany doesn't even bother.
Mahogany doesn't pay taxes anymore.
Mahogany's like, I only own the couch because Riot comes and crashes on it sometimes.
This is like my third couch because Riot keeps crashing on my couch and then selling it.
That sounds about Riot, yeah.
But yeah, you're asking him for essentially a
Yeah,
proprietary trade secret, and
Yeah.
he's not letting it go for pittance.
Yeah, I understand that. And Roy says, you understand that I'm not looking to get into business for myself doing this. I'm not looking to become your competition here.
He says there's no worry of that. If you're looking to get into the business of blackmailing factals, I imagine you will be dead in very short order. So I will need to... I'll need to request this price up front. I do not take credit from the very swiftly dead.
I'll see about putting it together. Where can I meet you if I manage to scrape 1,500 together?
And he just touches his temple.
Got a name? I can contact you anywhere if you give me a name.
Let's go to my favorite website.
FantasyNameGenerators.com. I'm trying to wean myself off it from my own game, and I've come up with some pretty good fairy names without Fantasy Name Generator.
How would you do that, though? That doesn't make any sense. How do you come up with any names without fantasy name generators?
Oh, Nick, did you get the opportunity to use the name I sent you?
I didn't. They didn't fail that roll by enough.
Oh, what a tragedy.
I forget, did Parsley Ice Swirls come from fantasy name generators?
Yes, Parsley Ice Swirls did come from FantasyNameGenerators.com. That was not about Face's character.
Well, fantasy name generators is not loading, so let's just think of like a good
What?
old-fashioned PI name. He's Dick Burlap.
Okay.
No.
That's a yep. On
That's a
point
little
with
bit on
that
the
one.
nose.
Thick burlap.
There you go.
All right. I'll contact you if I get the money.
Oh, he's gonna become a major NPC now.
He can't be worth it. His name's Dick Burlap. How good could he be? You're gonna send a message and it's just gonna be like fucking... You got a fake phone number off a girl.
And I'll take the 150 for now.
Okay.
You know.
He pays you as expected. He asks you just before you depart.
Mhm.
So not a tinge of guilt or regret about ruining that man's life forever.
He's a governor. I'm an anarch.
You tell him you're an anarchist?
Sure.
Is Serenity doing anything in particular on Shirok? Or just vacationing? Is Destil muted?
I thought I was muted.
Oh.
I'm just vacationing.
Okay. Kelian, Liberation, and Mahogany.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Attempting to get back in touch with this skeevy governor, Harak, which is literally what it says in my notes, skeevy governor.
Yeah, I've got much the same thing.
I also have something like that.
So you're bringing the information to this governor that you got from the Hall of Records?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To what end? What's the goal here?
Just finding out. So Kelian knows that Fred's last property was the tower on street around here.
Yeah.
He wants to find out any other additional information he might know about Fred, about where he went or anything, and the details about the tower. On Whitesmith Street, I think it was, maybe. Or no, Forgotten Land, that's what it was.
Bringing this information to Harak. He didn't know about the tower. And he assumed that all of these holdings from back then were defunct. They had been either demolished or had changed ownership or had squatters living in them now. So this is new information to him.
Okay.
And that makes him suspicious. Because why would you be bringing this free information to him unless you had some ulterior motive? And also you brought muscle with you this time.
That's true. I did bring muscle with me this time. But
Mahogany waves.
Kelian assures them that they're mostly harmless.
Liberation looks a little hurt at that.
Oh, come now. Come, Liberation.
Mahogany puts an arm around Liberation. There. You're very fierce.
Thank you.
Well, I was going to say something, but I won't. Instead, Kelian's just looking for people. Where paths have been crossed. That's how Kelian will say it.
Harak asks if you've looked into his connections with the Sensates. Maybe there are people at the Fest Hall who still remember this individual.
And Kelian will look at Mahogany and Liberation. I think someone else was taking care of that, no?
Mahogany shrugs. I don't know what anyone does with their time.
Liberation look deer in the headlights look.
This is where Kelian learned that he's the only one who's been doing any actual work.
Yeah, exactly. Oh.
We were hanging out at a devil bar.
I don't want to know. Oh no, Kelian's the one who recommended it. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
you told us about that. Yeah, by the way, Kelian, we'll have to talk about that later.
The owner's a nice guy. What do you want from me?
Cough.
I like the ambiance.
Not so much the drink.
So what does he know about this tower? Just
Harak?
that. Yeah.
Harak didn't
It
know
sounds
anything
like
about it.
Anything about it. It's new to him.
Yeah, you got that information at the Hall of Records.
Do we get the sense that he's being on the up and up with me?
Can roll an insight check.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my next thing. Should I roll insight?
No.
Okay.
You get the sense that he's never on the up and up with anybody. He always is looking
Okay.
for some angle to profit in every conversation he has. And where you've caught him off guard here is you've walked in with basically free
with
information
muscle.
that he didn't know. He's waiting for the other shoe to drop. He's waiting for some kind of demand or blackmail attempt or something here. He's wondering what you have on him.
At that, Kelian. At that, Kelian says, "Well, I guess that if you didn't know anything, then how can I twist this to Kelian's advantage?" If you didn't, Kelian also caught off guard that he didn't know anything.
At this point, Mahogany is like nervously shifting between his feet. He's like, "Oh my god, boring place."
Well, I guess that if you didn't know anything about this tower and you just trying to take advantage of this poor Kulis who didn't know any better, guess I'm just going to have to turn over to the deed to my friends at the Hall of Records. Let them take care of it. This tower's just been sitting in limbo, no one taking care of it. You obviously not knowing that it even existed. Well, I guess this is where this ends, and Kelian looks for any sort of reaction.
You see relief.
Relief?
Mostly, because, yeah, you're essentially just telling him that, all right, well, the business is over. Because this man has no connection to this tower.
Let's go check out the tower.
Yeah.
Let's go check out the tower.
That was going to be what's next.
It's great.
So we done here, boss?
Yeah, he essentially tells you if there's any other
That was directed to Kelian.
other
no.
business that he can help the Faded with.
Yeah. We'll be in touch if that's the case. But yeah, then let's go to the tower.
Yes.
Once we're out of there, I'll look at Kelian like, wow, dude.
I'm
Dude,
rusty.
next time you gotta have a plan before you go in.
I thought he knew. I'm shocked he didn't know anything.
I'm just saying, stick with your faction because the ciphers aren't working for you.
My faction. Whatever.
Also, I don't think you have any friends at the Hall of Records.
No, I really don't. Which is fine. That suits Kelian.
That's okay, you got friends with us.
Did you say that in character? Like, that's what Kelian do.
Yeah, Kelian speaks in the third person.
Riot, what's your afternoon action?
Let's see. Afternoon action is going to be. I've taken care of the property switch, right? That's like Kelian owns that deed now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case,
Well,
afternoon action.
you filed the paperwork, whether it's all gone through the system and been double stamped, etc., etc.
Yeah. But I've got takers on the inside. I feel like I can count on that to happen.
Sure.
Inside.
I did not mean you.
Aw.
He's on the unside.
Right. Afternoon action. Let's see. I feel like maybe I actually ought to do what that shipwright said. Oh no! Speaking of the shipwright, yeah, I got to go back to that guy. Yeah, I'm going back to Norbert Roussel.
Okay.
So I got to tell him there's a slight change of plan with those mastheads. I got to give him the updated design.
Okay. What's the updated design?
Updated design?
Still barracudas, but not flayed.
Okay. Well, work hasn't actually begun yet, as far as.
Yeah, and that was
Wood,
Riot's
wood.
assumption, was that this small adjustment would be early enough in the process that it wouldn't be too much of a problem.
Is Serenity spending the rest of the day on Shirok?
Yeah.
And Kelian, Liberation, and Mahogany are going to the Stone Tower.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is Riot playing an angle here, or is that something that needs to be revealed later?
It just is what it is, because it's like you said, the flayed barracuda would be something that's kind of against Osprey. It's like a desecration of one of her symbols, and it seems like I've got a plan in place to mollify the Master Pirates when they show up and find that, hey, this isn't exactly what we asked for.
By which you mean this isn't at all even a little bit what we asked for.
They're still gonna be sanctified mastheads, 7 of them with a barracuda on them. They're
Okay.
just not gonna be flayed.
I look forward to how this ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go ahead and change the designs. That's fine. He does bristle a little bit and requests that you don't march in here every morning with these kinds of requests. At some point,
Yeah, and I'll reassure him and says, oh no, I knew that it would be early enough in the process now that I could maybe get away with one small request to the design, but I understand that once these things are in motion, that there's not much that can be done.
okay.
Is that thunder?
The other 3 of you going to check out the Stone Tower. The
Yes.
last of the holdings, apparent holdings of Fred the Bard in Sigil. This was the one that you discovered there was a trust set aside for maintenance costs and taxes and things, and a small account which has just been ticking away for years, basically.
Mhm.
And the 3 of you arrive at this site at a point in the lower ward where the smog is very thick and just layers of grit cover the outside of this little squat tower. It's not tall, maybe 3 or 4 stories from the outside. It can't be more than 50 feet to walk all the way around it. It's not much of a dwelling at all.
There any windows?
There are 2 sets of thin, painless windows on the tower. One about maybe 15 feet up, and then one maybe another 10 or 15 feet above that. But essentially there's just holes in the stone.
Big enough for someone to squeeze through?
Yeah, if you were greased up and didn't have giant horns on the front of your head. Basically, like a halfling could slip through them. They're more like arrow slits than proper windows. But there's 4 of them at each level, so 8 total. Only one facing the street. The door of the tower looks in remarkably good repair. It looks like it's made of sturdy wood, has strong iron banding.
Kelian opens the door.
Knock the door? You could at least knock
Well,
first.
you go to try to open the door and can't. There's a crossbar on the other side of it.
He motions to Liberation.
What?
Go on, break it.
How about this? How about we just try politely knocking first? Step up to
There's
the
nobody
wall.
here.
Step to the door.
Just break it.
Liberation steps up to the door, makes a clicking sound with his tongue.
Kelian crosses his arms.
Now you rap on the door.
Wait about a minute or so.
Roll initiative.
Okay.
Okay.
Ooh, I rolled a 20.
Look at this guy.
I got a 20.
Pookie Dude says the door was mimic.
No.
It's fine. It didn't get you this time.
Liberation.
4.
4. That's not a very good roll.
No, it isn't.
Kelian.
But it makes it more
20.
interesting, I think.
And Mahogany.
16.
All right. Kelian is surprised. Bow guy. What's Liberation's AC?
15.
15. So 14 does not hit.
Nope.
Liberation steps up to the door and raps on it. And after a few seconds, just before you're about to call something out, you instinctively jump back a foot. And a black shafted arrow hits the cobblestone street right where you were standing. And you look up just in time to see an archer ducking back through the top layer of arrow slits.
So much for politeness.
Mahogany is surprised. And
Not really.
Liberation is surprised. That brings us back around to Kelian.
Yeah, Kelian's not surprised either. Who can I see?
You can see your companions.
That's it?
That's it.
Gonna hold an action. Kelian will, as a trigger, he will, as soon as someone attacks either Liberation or Mahogany, he will attack that individual. But he pulls out his crossbow at the ready.
Okay. Kelian.
What's up?
How does a 25 do?
Just hits. Just hits.
What about a 20?
Just hits.
Just hits?
Just hits.
You have a lot of different ACs.
It's a
They're
scale.
all pretty good.
Or they're all equally bad.
Kelian.
Yeah.
16 piercing damage. As this archer looses 2 arrows from the arrow slit at you. Pincushioning you in the street. And then ducks back behind the arrow slit for cover. Mahogany, what's up?
Liberation, get us inside.
Yeah, enough of that horse shit. I'm going to transform into an air elemental.
I was not expecting that at all. Now I'm surprised. All right, you're an air elemental. Poof. Now what?
Now I'm going in the arrow slit. I'm gonna beat the shit out of this guy.
Okay. Now, going up into the... not sure which floor of the tower, but going up into the top arrow slit where those arrows just got launched from, you see a very kind of well-kept sleeping quarters. It looks like it would comfortably sleep 3 or 4 people. You see a couple bedrolls laid out on the ground, a couple of locked foot lockers, and 2 archers dressed in black leathers with cloaks that look absolutely stunned that this wind elemental has just torn in through the arrow slit. Above you, in the ceiling, is a trapdoor leading to either the next floor up or to the top of the tower. You're not sure which. And there's another trapdoor set in the floor in the center of the room. But yeah, there's 2 archers in this room, both of which look like they're going to keep on raining arrows down out of the arrow slit at your companions.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a whirlwind on the 2 archers.
A whirlwind?
Yeah.
Do a whirlwind? Is that a euphemism for farting?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm one of those dirty. Well, it's Kelian air, so you know.
It's very smoggy. You're pretty close to the foundry. So what does that entail?
All right, so each creature, both of them have to make a strength saving throw.
4 and 1.
All right, yeah, that's not gonna do it. So I'm gonna fling them away. Since it's melee and we are breaking into their house, let's make this non-lethal. I'm not trying to bash their.
You can't do a non-lethal attack as an air elemental.
I hit things with melee.
You're catching them in a whirlwind.
All right.
Yeah.
Strongly disagree. Let's see here. That's 16. Oh wait, no. That's 18 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And they're knocked prone. How big is this space?
The base of the tower, when you were downstairs, it looked like it would only take a few seconds to walk all the way around it, maybe a 50-foot walk or so. And this floor is slightly narrower. The tower slightly narrows as it goes up. So the room you're in now is not very large at all. It's cramped, but it could, like I said, comfortably could sleep probably 3 people.
All right, in that case, they're flung 20 feet away, knocked prone, and they're probably going to hit something in that case.
But yeah, they absolutely both smash against the back wall of the tower.
All right, then they are each going to take... an additional 7 bludgeoning damage.
At that, as these men cry out and are blasted against the back of the tower, you hear the sounds of scraping steel beneath you in the first floor. Kelian and Liberation, you hear it behind the door.
And I'm going to use my movement to come back out towards the door. Like fly back out the window, go straight towards the door.
I'm going to let both of these archers get a stab off on you.
They're 20 feet away from me.
You're not 20 feet away from anybody. There's not 20 feet in any direction to go in this room.
Oh, okay.
The room's tiny. There's
It's
room for
very
3
small.
bedrooms on the floor, and you're
yeah.
you're a large air elemental in the space.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I didn't realize just how small it was. Yeah, that was on me.
They don't hit you anyway. They roll a 2 and a 3.
Yeah, I was not going to do it.
These guys, my heart's breaking for them.
Yeah, I know, right?
They roll a
like
1 and a
taking-
2 on their saves, and now a 2 and a 3 on their hits.
That's not going to do it.
Puppy.
Lest we forget the 2 arrows in Kelian's shoulders.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why I still made the attack, even though it was lethal. Like that's on them. We knocked.
Well, yeah. All right, we did know.
Like I said, so much for politeness. That's exactly what Liberation said before he got right after he got shot at.
I need Kelian, Liberation, and Mahogany to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, I'm good at this.
Probably not going to make it.
16.
12.
10.
A 10 and a 12. Okay, so this is going to get real funny real fast. You guys hear the sounds of scraping steel in the ground floor of the tower. The door of the tower is kicked open outwardly. And standing there is a very large, burly man dressed in black plate armor, emblazoned with the sigil of the Doomguard. And he's holding a glaive. And just seeing this man, he just exudes just terror. something about him strikes into just the smallest, narrowest part of your heart. Mahogany and Liberation, you are frightened of this man for 1 minute.
I don't have a heart though. I'm an air elemental.
Your heart's just wild shaped. That's all. Doesn't mean you don't have
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Try getting disintegrated. Then let's talk about your heart.
I've already tried that. Thanks, Brick Road.
You can only repeat that saving throw if you move away from this man. Seeing that Kelian, though he already has 2 arrows sticking out of him, does not seem to be affected, the man takes his hand off his glaive and just holds it out, finger outstretched. And you see 2 other men in the room, also both Doomguards. These ones with the more traditional Doomguard longsword. Step out from the side. Now, looking into the actual room itself, it's a very well-kept little living quarters. There's not room in here for a lot of furniture, but they have a table that they were sitting around. It looks like they were enjoying a meal together. You're not sure what this statuesque armored man was doing in there.
Posing.
Kelian holds up his hands saying, "Is this how you treat all your guests?" Even though he's got like his crossbow in his hand.
Kelian.
Yeah.
I have a 17 and an 11.
Hey, that's a low number.
17 just hits.
17 just hits. Is that going to be Kelian's new phrase? Just hits.
Might be, yeah.
Rolled a 32. Yeah, it just hits.
9 points of slashing damage
Jesus.
as the Tomb Dugard step out of the tower into the street and let into you with their long swords. One of them you manage to sidestep, but the other one slashes you across the arm. And being bitten by a Doomguard blade is not a pleasant experience. Doomguard, even the low rank and file Doomguard, are assigned +1 longswords that are known for giving wounds that don't heal naturally. Jerks, you pounded on their door and started shooting at them.
Knocked.
No, yeah, we knocked and then they shot us.
So
let's be
impolite.
clear. Ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I wanted to bulldoze down the door, but that's beside the
I'm
point.
making my case very early for why this wasn't an evil act.
No, that's fair. It's wrong, but it's fair. So evil. Liberation. You are not under any kind of compuncture to do anything. This fear does not force you to retreat or do anything you don't want to do. But if you try to attack the source of your fear, you do so at disadvantage, just as per the standard fear rules. There's nothing like tagged onto it.
Okay, well, you know what? I don't really feel like dealing with that, so I'm just going to ignore the fear.
Just ignore it.
Yep, stillness of mind takes an action. Get rid of the fear.
And it's just a big dude in armor. You're like, I fought dragons and
Yeah,
devils, and
yeah.
this is just a dude in armor.
This is just a dude in armor, and I am ducking and weaving
Okay, so that is
as a bonus action.
okay.
And dodge.
Kelian.
Seriously, we just want to talk.
These guys do not look like they just want to talk.
Just want to talk.
Dude, they're Doomguard. No jury in the world.
No, it's not what. That's not what me, the player, is concerned about. There's archers, there's 2 sword guys, and there's a big sword guy causing fear. Gents, we may be outnumbered.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, you're serious.
A little bit, yeah.
Take a turn or lose it.
Kelian will fire a bolt at at the big sword guy.
At the big sword guy. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see how this goes.
Am I within 5 feet?
No, nobody's within 5 feet of big sword guy. Because he's still inside of the tower. He hasn't stepped out of the room yet. The other Doomguard have stepped outside to engage Kelian. That's
not it.
wow, it's like
Well,
you're one of my archers.
Well, I have lucky tokens, so
You do.
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That is a 19.
That'll hit.
All right, yeah. Take this Doomguard guy. Yeah, that is 16 damage.
Okay. Hold on, let me
Not
map
bad
here.
not bad for no sneak attack, huh?
Wait, why no sneak attack?
Was that
I'm
a
not
glass?
within 5 feet?
No one's
Was that a
doing-
glass bolt?
Oh, it was against the sword guys?
No,
He's
he,
against the
fight,
big sword guy.
he fired at the
Yeah.
big sword guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's still inside?
That is a glass bolt.
Again, darkness.
And yeah, Kelian will use the command word too.
So you just enshroud the entire lower floor of the tower in darkness?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he moving or staying put?
Oh, Kelian is moving back away from everything. And he sort of gives come on guys, let's go gesture.
So, I mean, you're moving back away from the sword guys, so I get to attack you
Yeah.
again?